There's a very specific kind of day that I think you, me, and all of us have experienced more times than we'd like to admit. And it usually starts with intention because we wake up or we sit down at some point and we tell ourselves, okay, today I'm actually going to do it. And we mean it in that moment, like genuinely. Because the thing we're thinking about isn't so random. It's something we've been carrying for a while, something that matters to us, something tied to the version of us we keep imagining becoming. So the intention is there, the awareness is there, and for a moment it even feels possible, like all we need to do is start, and everything will begin to fall into place. But then, instead of just taking that first step, we pause, and that pause turns into thinking, and that thinking quietly starts expanding beyond what it was supposed to be. Because now we're not just thinking about starting, we're thinking about what happens next after we start. How consistent we'll need to be, whether we're doing it the right way, how long it's going to take to see progress, how far behind we already feel, and whether this attempt is going to be any different from the last time we told ourselves the exact same thing. And without realizing it, we've taken something simple and turned it into something complicated. This is usually the moment where everything slows down, where you're still sitting there. I'm still sitting there. The day is still moving, but we're not. And from the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. It looks like we just chose not to do anything. But internally, it doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like hesitation mixed with pressure. Like we're stuck between wanting to move and act, but feeling like we're not ready to carry everything that comes with moving. So we stay in that awkward in-between space where we're not resting, but we're also not acting. And the longer we stay there, the more uncomfortable it gets, because now time is passing and we're aware of it. We can feel that gap growing between what we said we do and what we're actually doing. And that awareness slowly turns into frustration, which then leads to us asking questions and doubting ourselves. Questions like, why can't I just start? Why does this feel harder than it should? And why do other people seem to move while I'm stuck here thinking about moving? And I've had those exact thoughts too. The kind that don't just stay about the situation, but it starts turning into something more personal. Something that attacks yourself, like self-doubt, where you ask yourself or you say things like, maybe I'm just not disciplined, or maybe I don't want it enough, even though deep down that doesn't really feel true. Because if we're being honest, the reason this bothers us so much is because we do care, and not in a casual way, but in a way where it stays on our mind throughout the day, where it keeps coming back even when we try to ignore it. And it creates that subtle pressure in the background that doesn't let us fully relax. And that's the part that doesn't line up with the idea that we're just lazy. So if we do care and we're still not moving, then something else has to be happening. And I think what's actually happening is a lot simpler than we make it, but also harder to notice. Because it's not about motivation, it's about weight. Specifically, the amount of weight we're putting onto the moment before we even begin. When we think about starting, we're not just holding the first step, we're holding the entire outcome. We're holding the expectation to be consistent, the fear of falling off, the pressure to do it right, and the meaning we attach to whether or not we succeed this time. All of that gets compressed into a single decision, which makes that decision feel a lot bigger than it actually is. And when something like that feels so heavy, it makes sense that we hesitate. It makes sense that we stall, that we avoid it, not because we're incapable, but because we're trying to carry too much at once, and our brain responds to that by slowing us down, even if logically we know we should just start. So the problem isn't that we're not doing enough. It's that we're expecting too much from the very beginning. We're asking that first step to prove everything, to fix everything, to guarantee everything. And when it can't do that, because no first step can, we end up not taking that step at all. And once I start seeing it like that, once you start seeing it like that, the situation shifts a little, because instead of asking yourself, why are you not doing anything? The better question becomes, What am I trying to carry right now that's making this feel so heavy? And usually the answer is everything. So the way forward isn't forcing ourselves to suddenly become more disciplined or waiting until we feel perfectly ready, because all that does is it keeps us stuck in that same cycle. It's more so about reducing the weight of the moment, how we feel, to bring it back down, to ground ourselves to something small enough that we don't feel the need to overthink it. If you've been in that space lately where you care, but your actions don't seem to match it, it might not be a reflection of who you are. It might just be a reflection of how much you've been trying to carry all at once. And instead of turning that into a judgment about yourself, you can treat it as a sign to make things lighter. Because we don't need to solve everything today. We don't need to prove anything in one attempt. And we don't need to become a completely different person before we start. We just need to take one step that feels manageable, and then another when we're ready. And over time, without forcing it, without overcomplicating it, we will move forward. Maybe not perfectly, but consistently enough to remind ourselves that we were never stuck, just overwhelmed. Thanks for watching, Rardo. I'll see you in the next video.